welcome to Cobnuts and Tuppence. I'm Tuppence. Halloween is done, and while it was fun, I am really excited to start making Christmas projects. And one of the projects that I like to do is to make new ornaments every year. I saw some ornaments online and I'm going to take inspiration from them because they were way too expensive. So I'm going to have a go at making them myself. And I'm going to use some of these glass chips. I've got a couple of packs of coloured ones. They're a sampler pack and they're about 2 to 4 millimeters, I think. Super small. I already had some silver ones and I could probably colour that with some alcohol inks, but just having the coloured one is going to save me some time. I'm going to make two different types of ornaments. For the first one, I'm going to need some of this. This is 22 gauge aluminium armature wire. And I've got a very small cookie cutter, which I'm going to use to help me shape my ornament. And even though it's really small, that's fine. It's going to be going on a pretty small tree. If you just want a larger one, find a larger cookie cutter. I'm going to use some UV resin, and I've got a couple of tools for cutting and manipulating my wire, some snips and round nose pliers and some jump rings. The second type of ornament is going to just require this template which I designed. I will leave a link to this for you in the description box below if you're interested. So let me gather my stuff and I'll get started. I want to start by creating my wire form. So armature wire is pretty bendy. I'm just straightening this out a little bit. This wire is usually used to make the skeleton of any sculpture, so it is pretty bendy. And I'm just going to wrap it around this heart, pulling it tight so that it follows the shape until I get all the way around back up to the top. Then I'm just going to cut off the excess so it's a little bit easier for me to maneuver. I can get that out of the way. Right, I'm going to pull this tightly around so that the two pieces are meeting at the top. I'll just squeeze the sides between my fingers. And then I can snip off any excess. So I want them to meet in the middle, much like a jump ring does. I don't want them to cross over. So I just snip off each piece. It does cut pretty easily. Now I'm going to take the round nose pliers and I'm going to push the ends to follow the curves of the cookie cutter. Just squeeze it gently all the way around. And that way I'll get a nice shape. So now I can slide that cookie cutter out of the way. And I'm just going to push it down on the table so that it's nice and flat. And that is my base shape. I poured out some of my silver glass chips into the lid of the jar. And now I just need to put a little bit of UV resin into my pot. And this is super simple. Now I am using UV resin for this because it's going to be speedy, but I'd imagine this would work with any type of glue like B7000, probably even hot glue. You just have to be pretty quick. But I'm using the UV resin because it is going to be really quick and will cure immediately. So I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to brush the resin onto the wire. You don't need a lot. I don't want this to be running and dripping. I just want to get enough on here that when I dip that into these crystals, or chips, I keep saying crystals, but when I dip it in there, it's going to pick them up. So I'll give that a couple of taps, get rid of any excess. And then I need to cure this with a UV torch. Now don't be like me, move your pot of UV resin out of the way. I am super lucky that I did not actually cure that. You can see the light is getting perilously close to it. So just move it out the way or aim your torch away from it. It doesn't take long and I only need to partially cure it so that these don't keep falling off. Once I've got most of this coated, I will pop this underneath my dual UV lamp so that it cures properly. But for this first time, I just want to show you how long it takes to set them, and that is it. So there are a couple of areas where there's some bare wire. I can recoat that with a little bit of resin and redip it, but I'm not going to worry too much if there are some spaces. So that is the entire process. I just need to keep coating this wire and dipping it into the chips and curing it. I'm going to speed this up and I'll be back when I'm ready to do something different. that's about half done. I've covered that join. Now I'm going to put this underneath the UV lamp and then I can carry on going all the way round. Alright, that is now all covered. It's encrusted. It is so pretty and sparkly. I'm going to be putting a jump ring on the top to thread some ribbon through, but I need to clean my brush first. So I've got a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. I'm just going to squeeze that onto my mat and then I can swirl my brush around in that and clean it off on a paper towel. And that is all you have to do in order to ensure that you can keep reusing your brushes. I'll set that aside and let that alcohol dry off, and that's good to go. Now I want to attach a jump ring so that I can hang this, and I could do with 3 pairs of hands, but I'm going to use some pegs. So I'm clipping the pegs around the wire just so that it is in the holes. That way it's not going to squeeze that too tightly, and that should balance nicely. So I need to pop this here where the heart dips most. I'm going to hold my jump ring between a pair of pliers and then I'm just going to dip that in the resin. And I'm dipping the join in the resin. Grab my torch and then, just move that out the way first. And then I can hold that in place and cure it. That is fixed in place, but I want to make sure, so I'm just going to add another blob of resin across the top there. I'll pop it back underneath the UV lamp, make sure that everything is cured, and then I just need to attach a ribbon. And this is one that I did earlier. I think it is super pretty. Now, of course, you don't have to use the glass glitter, but it really does give you an amazing shine. You could use some crystals, you could just use ordinary glitter, and I think it would look equally as nice. Before I move on to the next project, I just want to make sure that there's no raw resin left in here. This is where I dip the wire in. So I'm just going to stir these around and expose that to the UV torch. Then if there are any chips of grass that do have any resin on them, I'm going to be curing it. And just by stirring it around, I'll stop them from sticking together. That way I can put this safely back into the main jar and I don't have to worry about there being any raw or uncured UV resin. Okay, for the second set of ornaments, I'm going to use this template that I created and the glass chips that have got colour in them. So I'm basically going to start with the robin, and for that I'm going to need, the red. I was hoping I had a little bit more of a brown colour, but I'm definitely going to need the red, and I'll probably use this gold colour because there isn't actually the brown that I want. And I think that one on the end, the sort of bronzy one on the end, is just too close of a colour to the red. So I'll try the other ones first. Now the template has a wreath, or you can use this for making a wreath, and I might do that in a minute, but for now I'm just going to concentrate on mostly the robin. There's also a mistletoe, and this robin is exactly the same as the template that I made for the stained glass robin that I made last year. So I will leave a link to that and you can check that out. So I've covered my template with a piece of acetate. You can use a plastic bag. Anything that the resin is going to release from is going to be fine. And I can use this piece over and over. So I've got a pot and it's got a very small amount of UV resin in it, and I'm tipping the crystals in. I just need enough resin in here to coat the crystals and make a paste, if you like. I don't want any liquid resin to be in the bottom of the cup. Once I've got them all stirred around and coated, I'm going to tip a little bit onto top of the template. I'll just scrape some out, and a little bit at a time. And then it's just a case of flattening them out and filling in the area on the template. So I think the easiest thing for me to do is to grab a dotting tool and the stick, and then I can just arrange these. So this is pretty much it. It is going to be very simple again. Once I've filled in a space and got these as flat and as neat as I possibly can, make sure that all of them are touching, and I'll cure it with the torch to set it so that I can move it underneath the UV lamp without destroying it. And I just keep filling the areas in. So I am going to put this on fast forward, put some music on, and you can watch the process.
See the robin hop along, bobbing on the ground, with feathers bright and lively, in colors red and brown. A flash of red upon its chest, like a sunrise in the dawn, dancing through the morning light until the night is gone. Oh, little robin red, you bring the cheer around, with every hop and every song, the sweetest little sound. You brighten up the winter, you lift us from the gray. Little robin red, you're here to save the day. From tree to fence you skip and play, in fields of green and gold. In icy winds you still stay warm, so brave and free and bold. The sparkle in your tiny eyes, so merry, bright and true. You're here to spread a bit of joy, like only robins do. Oh, little robin red, you bring...
Okay, I just want to point out that this is obviously dyed and that the dye is coming off in the UV resin, so I perhaps don't want to use quite so much glass at any one time, otherwise I shall lose all of the colour before I get around to using it. For now I'm going to need another pot and another colour. I want to fill in that section in between the two pieces that are already there, and if I use the same colour chips it's just going to look like one big blob and there won't be any definition. So I'm going to put a little bit of UV resin in there, and I think I'm going to use these pale gold chips. So I'll add a few of the gold chips to that UV resin, and I'm just going to keep mixing this up a little bit at a time so that it doesn't have a chance to leach any of the colour out into the resin. I decided I'm going to add some of this chocolate coloured glitter, so I might as well mix these two lots of chips together, so that lighter gold colour with the one that I've previously used, and then I'm going to add some of that brown glitter, and we'll see if that helps to make a difference and give me a slightly different colour in the middle. So I'm just making sure everything is mixed together. Then I can fill in that middle section, and hopefully this will give me enough colour difference to define the wing in between, because I have to rely on purely colour difference rather than the outline as I did when I made the stained glass robin. So I will again carry on filling in all of the pieces.
With every hop and every song, the sweetest little sound. You brighten up the winter, you lift us from the gray. Little robin red, you're here to save the day. Oh, with a gentle wing you greet the day, you welcome in the sun. In gardens wide and city parks, your magic's just begun. You wear that chest of fire bright, a little piece of warmth and light. In the chill of dawn you're singing on, and everything feels right. Oh, little robin red, you bring the cheer around with every hop.
Now I need to do the beak, and I'm going to use a little bit of black glitter and the UV resin on its own. The area is too small to use anything larger like the glass chips, so I'm going to fill it in a little bit at a time, and if I just do it carefully I should be able to get this as close to the shape of the template as possible. And I'm also going to use my dotting tool to put a black dot for the eye on top of those red glass chips. Now that I've got everything the way I want it, I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to brush on a thin layer of UV resin to cover the whole piece. This will seep into any gaps that might be between all of those chips and just give it some added strength, so that when I go to take this off of the acetate, it's going to come off in one piece and not just crumble to pieces. So I'll cover it all, and then I'm going to cue this underneath my double-sided UV lamp for a good 5 minutes. Okay, after all this work, it's the moment of truth. Can I get this off of the plastic in one piece? And yes, it looks like that was successful. I think that's really pretty. There's just a very thin film around the outside, some little areas of resin that's leaked out. Just snip them off with some scissors. You can probably pull them off with your fingers, to be honest. They're super thin. Just give it a quick tidy up. But I'm really happy with that. I think it's very pretty. I am going to flip this over and I'm going to put a layer of UV resin on the back. Again, just to give it some added strength, make it slightly thicker so that I can attach the jump ring. I think I'm going to actually put this on top of a pot, and that will make it easier for me to apply the resin on the back. So I'll just put a blob on there, and then I just need to spread that evenly over the surface, cure it, and then I can add a jump ring. And I also made a wreath. You just need to follow the circle. It's super easy, one colour, and you don't even have to be that neat. The edges look much better if they're slightly ragged. Once I had my circle formed and cured, I coated it with some UV resin, and then I just dropped a few of the red and the gold chips on top, and this formed the decoration on the wreath. There isn't even any need to add a jump ring to this. You just use a piece of ribbon, pass the two tails through the front of the piece, through to the back, and then wrap a tail around each side of the loop and tie a knot. Once you've got that knot tied, you'll be able to make a bow out of the tails, and this will act as a hanger and provide a bow on the top of your wreath. So here is my collection of ornaments. I think you could probably put these onto the front of cards because they are super light, and that way you could give them as a gift as well as a card. I think they are really effective, they are super simple, and I hope you would give them a go. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't. It is free and you'll be able to help my channel and find out what I'm going to make next time. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye.